Aries, if you've been feeling lately that something is about to change, even though you cannot yet explain what it is, don't dismiss that feeling. The week beginning August 15th, 2026, is not an ordinary week for you. Something that has been quietly developing beneath the surface may finally begin revealing itself. A message, an unexpected meeting, a career opportunity, or an issue from the past could reopen a door you thought had already closed. And the most interesting part is this: the biggest transformation may not begin in the outside world. It may begin inside you. Dear Aries, during the week of August 15th to 21st, 2026, you may find yourself looking at your life differently. The things you once accepted without question may suddenly feel too small. The people you once tried desperately to please may no longer have the same influence over your decisions. And a choice you've been postponing could finally demand an answer. If this reading resonates with you, take a moment to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Stay with me until the end, because this week carries important messages about your career, money, love, relationships, emotional growth, unexpected opportunities, and a decision that could influence the direction of your next chapter. As August reaches its middle point, the planetary atmosphere encourages you to become more intentional about where your energy is going. Your natural Aries instinct is to move quickly, make a decision, and deal with the consequences later. But this week asks you to do something slightly different. Pause. Look, listen. Then move. Because the difference between moving quickly and moving in the right direction could become extremely important now. You may have been waiting for an answer for weeks or even months. Perhaps it concerns a job, a relationship, money, family, or a personal goal. Something that has remained uncertain may finally begin to take shape. At first, the sign may seem insignificant. A short message, a phone call, a casual conversation, a recommendation from someone you know. But don't underestimate small beginnings. Some of the biggest changes in life do not arrive with fireworks. They arrive quietly, disguised as ordinary moments. A person says something that makes you think. Someone mentions an opportunity. You receive an email at exactly the right time. You meet someone unexpectedly. And suddenly, a possibility that you had forgotten about becomes real again. That is one of the strongest themes surrounding your week. Something that looked finished may not actually be finished. Professionally, Aries, your hard work can begin attracting more attention. If you've been working consistently without receiving the recognition you deserve, that could start changing. A supervisor may notice your abilities. A colleague could recommend you. A client may return with another project. Or someone you've worked with in the past could bring an opportunity back into your life. This is especially important if you've been considering a job change. Don't assume that the next opportunity has to come from a completely new environment. Your past connections may become surprisingly valuable. Someone who already knows what you're capable of could become the bridge between where you are now and where you want to go. If you're searching for employment, make yourself visible. Update your resume. Contact former colleagues. Respond to messages. Apply for positions that genuinely interest you. And most importantly, don't convince yourself that an opportunity is impossible before you've even tried. For Aries entrepreneurs, this week can bring valuable momentum. A business idea may begin looking more realistic. Partnership could be discussed. A new customer may appear through a recommendation. An online project may attract attention. But there is an important warning. Do not confuse excitement with certainty. Just because something looks promising doesn't mean you need to accept it immediately. Read the details. Ask questions. Understand the responsibilities. Look at the long-term consequences. Your greatest strength is courage, but courage becomes much more powerful when it is guided by wisdom. Financially, this week carries a mixture of opportunity and caution. Money may begin moving in a better direction. A delayed payment could arrive. Additional work may create extra income. A bonus, commission, freelance opportunity, or unexpected source of earnings could improve your confidence. But Aries, don't spend money simply because you finally have it. The middle of the month may bring expenses you didn't anticipate. Something related to your home, transportation, work, family, or personal responsibilities could require additional spending. So when money comes in, don't immediately assume that every dollar is available to spend. Save something. Plan something. Protect something. This week can teach you an important financial lesson. Earning money is only one part of financial strength. Knowing how to protect it is another. If you're considering an investment, don't let someone else's confidence become your evidence. Research. Compare. Check the numbers. Read the terms. And give yourself enough time to think. You may also discover that one of your existing talents could become an additional source of income. Perhaps you are good at writing, sales, teaching, technology, design, communication, management, content creation, problem solving. You may consider your ability ordinary because it comes naturally to you. But what feels easy to you may be extremely valuable to someone else. And during the second half of August, that realization could become financially important. Now, Aries, let's talk about love, because this is where the week becomes much more emotional. If you're already in a relationship, you may no longer be satisfied with superficial conversations. You want clarity. You want emotional honesty. You want to know where the relationship is going. A conversation about the future may become unavoidable. You could talk about commitment, living arrangements, family, money, long-term plans, or something that has quietly bothered you for a long time. At first, you may want to avoid the conversation because you don't want to create tension. But sometimes avoiding an important conversation creates more tension than having it. If your relationship is healthy, honesty can bring you closer. You may discover that your partner has been carrying their own fears or concerns. They may finally tell you something they have been unable to express. Listen before reacting. You don't always need to solve everything immediately. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can say is simply, "I understand." But if you've been the only person making sacrifices, initiating conversations, apologizing, or trying to keep the relationship alive, this week may make that imbalance impossible to ignore. Aries, love should not require you to disappear. You should not have to become smaller so another person can feel comfortable. You should not have to constantly prove that you're worthy of being loved. A healthy relationship gives both people room to breathe. For single Aries natives, the energy is equally interesting. Someone new could enter your life through work, friends, social media, travel, an event, or an unexpected conversation. But this person may not immediately look like your usual romantic type. They could be quieter than you expected, more cautious, more reserved. Perhaps the attraction won't feel overwhelming at first. And that may actually be a good thing. Not every meaningful relationship begins with chaos and intense emotions. Some connections grow slowly. They begin with a conversation, then another, then a feeling of comfort, then curiosity, and eventually you realize that this person has become important to you. Think of it like a star appearing in the night sky. At first, you barely notice it. Then your eyes adjust to the darkness, and suddenly you realize it has been shining there all along. So don't judge someone too quickly this week. Give people time to reveal who they really are. Pay attention to actions rather than promises. Someone's consistency may tell you far more than their words. There is also a strong possibility that something from the past could return. A former relationship, an old friendship, previous job, an unfinished project, a family issue, or even a dream you once abandoned. You may receive a message from someone you haven't spoken to in a long time. You could unexpectedly see a familiar person. Or perhaps a memory will return so strongly that you begin questioning whether you truly moved on. But remember something important. The past may return without being meant to become your future again. Sometimes an old chapter reappears because you are finally strong enough to close it properly. The question isn't, will the past come back? The deeper question is, am I still the person who needed that past? You may discover that you're not. Something that once hurt you may no longer control you. Something you once feared losing may no longer seem worth chasing. Something you once desperately wanted may no longer fit the person you have become. That realization can be incredibly powerful. Psychologically, this week may mark a turning point. You may begin understanding that your worth is not determined by who chooses you. Someone rejecting you does not make you unworthy. A failed project does not make you incapable. A lost opportunity does not mean your future is over. A relationship ending does not mean you are impossible to love. Sometimes life simply changes direction. And sometimes the road that looks like a setback is actually the road that takes you somewhere better. Your social circle may also begin shifting. You may feel less willing to spend time with people who constantly drain your energy. People who only contact you when they need something may become easier to recognize. People who repeatedly create drama may no longer receive the same access to your life. This isn't cruelty. It's a boundary. You are allowed to decide who gets your time, who gets your attention, who gets your trust, and who no longer belongs in the next chapter. At the same time, someone new could enter your social world. This person may eventually become valuable not only personally but professionally. A new friendship could introduce you to another opportunity. A casual conversation could lead to a useful connection. So don't automatically reject invitations or social opportunities. Sometimes life changes direction through people we never expected to meet. Now let's look at the important days of the week. August 15th begins with a reflective energy. Don't force major decisions immediately. Pay attention to your instincts and recurring thoughts. Something you notice today may become important later in the week. August 16th is favorable for career matters. Apply for something. Send the message. Have the conversation. Present your idea. This is a day when taking initiative can work in your favor. August 17th requires financial caution. Avoid unnecessary spending and don't make an investment simply because someone else sounds confident about it. August 18th may bring unexpected information. A message, phone call, or conversation could reveal something you weren't expecting. Don't react immediately. First, understand what the information actually means. August 19th carries strong relationship energy. Couples can have meaningful conversations, while single Aries natives may notice increased attention from someone unexpected. August 20th is favorable for networking, social connections, and professional opportunities. If you're invited somewhere, consider going. A person you meet could become important later. August 21st brings emotional clarity. Something that confused you earlier in the week may suddenly make sense. You may finally know which direction you want to take. And now, Aries, there is one hidden warning you should remember throughout this entire week. You don't have to say yes to every opportunity. You naturally love movement. When a door opens, your first instinct is to walk through it. But this week, you need to look inside the room first. Ask yourself, where does this lead? What will it cost me? Does it match the future I want? Will this bring me closer to peace or further away from it? Because sometimes the wrong opportunity can be just as distracting as a missed opportunity. Your power this week won't come from how quickly you react. It will come from your ability to control your reaction. You have already experienced enough to know that not every battle deserves your energy. Not every person deserves an explanation. Not every door deserves to be opened. And not every ending deserves to be reversed. As the week progresses, you may feel as though two different paths are appearing in front of you. One path is familiar, contains old habits, old fears, old relationships, old patterns. The other path is less predictable. There are no guarantees there, but there is growth. And August 15th to 21st may encourage you to look seriously at that second path. You don't have to change your entire life in 7 days. You only need to make one honest decision. Set one boundary. Accept one opportunity. Have one difficult conversation. Release one old burden. Take one brave step. Because major transformations rarely begin with a dramatic announcement. They often begin with one quiet decision made when nobody else is watching. Aries, August 2026 is teaching you something important. You cannot control everything that happens around you, but you can control what you choose next. You can choose where your energy goes. You can choose who remains close. You can choose which opportunities deserve your attention. You can choose whether fear or possibility gets the final word. And perhaps the greatest message of this week is this. You are not the same person who entered the year. You've learned. You've lost. You've survived. You've changed. And now some of the decisions you make must reflect the person you've become rather than the person you used to be. So when you notice the signs this week, don't ignore them. The message, the invitation, the unexpected conversation, the new opportunity, the returning person, the strange idea that suddenly appears in your mind. Destiny doesn't always announce itself loudly. Sometimes it arrives as a quiet feeling inside your chest. A simple thought. Maybe it's time. If that feeling comes, Aries, listen carefully. Because the week beginning August 15th, 2026, may not simply be another 7 days on the calendar. It may become a bridge between the life you've known and the life you've been quietly preparing for. And crossing that bridge doesn't require perfection. It requires courage. It requires clarity. And most importantly, it requires you to trust yourself again. Aries, you were never meant to spend your life standing at the same door, wondering whether you should knock. If the right door opens this week, recognize it. If the wrong door closes, let it close. If someone leaves, don't automatically chase them. If someone new arrives, give them a chance to show you who they are. And if life places a difficult choice in front of you, remember everything you've already survived. You have more strength than you realize. The biggest change may begin with something that looks incredibly small. One message. One conversation. One decision. One yes. One no. One step forward. And one day, when you look back, you may realize that the moment that changed everything didn't look important at all. It was simply the moment you finally chose the future over the fear of leaving the past behind. Aries, August 15th to 21st is your reminder that your next chapter doesn't need permission to begin. You only need to take the first step.